Right, a very good afternoon, sisters and brother scouts. Thank you for being very punctual. Warm welcome back to the afternoon plenary session of the day 4 of the conference. It's going to be an action-packed afternoon, and we will need to keep to the time. But before we start, we have some recognition to be made. We would like to call upon members of the APR Scout Foundation Management Committee to be recognized for their services in this triennium. We would like to invite our chairman, Paul Parkinson, and regional treasurer, Paul Ho, to present the certificate of appreciation. Paul and Paul, please. Mr. Paul Ho. Yep.
May we request the foundation members to kindly proceed to the stage. Dr. Muhammad Mukhideen bin Sarwani, Mr. Joseph Lau E. Eng Leong, Mr. Nizamuddin Ahmed. So may we ask Mr. Mukhideen to kindly come on the stage, please. Dr. Mukhideen. Okay. Or rather. Because of Dr. Nizam, please. Mr. Paulus Chakrawan, please. Mr. David Jones. The foundation committee in this triennium, you have seen the report. They really worked hard. Thank you so much to the foundation management committee. Dr. Mukhideen bin Sarwani, are you in already?
Still no, okay. Dr. Idris, you want to mention no more?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Next, we would like to call upon members of the APR Scout Bazaar Task Force to be recognized for their services in this triennium. We would like to invite Regional Treasurer Paul Ho once again, and also our Regional Director JR to present the certificates of appreciation.
May we request Mr. Elif Wong Tang Chen, member of the API Scout Bazaar Task Group. For the information of the conference, Scout Bazaar has been launched on 17th of October last year. And this is the group who really worked hard to make sure that this is launched. Mr. Jimmy Yang. May we request Ms. Anna Wong Kichai? And may we request Mr. David Jablo Jones? And I will request Ka Susi to please join the group. Ka Susi is one who has been very hard working in supporting this team, and we will recognize her together with the finance committee to which she belongs to. Thank you, Ka Susi. And their efforts will succeed if all of you will make sure that every week Scout Bazaar has an order from you. So please make sure that when you go back home, keep on ordering through Scout Bazaar. Thank you so much.
All right, before we have the presentation by our partners, we'd like to invite our friends from the Federation for Egyptian Scouts and Guides to make a presentation on the 42nd World Scout Conference 2020.
Dear brothers and sisters in Scouting, the August Assembly of the 26th ABR Scout Conference. Assalamu alaikum. Salamat boo. With your trust and support, we have the great honor to host the 14th World Scout Youth Forum and the 42nd World Scout Conference in Egypt 2020. It's our pleasure to be here among you again, since we met last year in Baku. In this occasion, I want to deliver the appreciation and many thanks of all Scouts of Egypt to all of you. Thank you. And now, let's dive together into the future. Sharm el-Sheikh is a charming city located on the Red Sea. It has played host to many world events, such as the World Economic Forum and the World Youth Forum. The 14th World Scout Youth Forum will be held in the youth city of Sharm el-Sheikh between 17 to 21st of August 2020. The youth city has fantastic facilities and services which make it suitable to host such event. The 42nd World Scout Conference will be held in Maritime Jolieville Congress International Congress Center in Sharm el-Sheikh between 24 to 28 of August 2020. The center features multiple halls and meeting rooms and advanced systems. Now, let us share with you the facilitations that we will provide to all the participants in both events. Starting with the visa process, in cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Egypt welcomes all participants from all NSOs. And there will be special facilitated procedures for participants in both events. A detailed visa process for each category of countries will be circulated in advance. Our team will welcome all the participants at Sharm el-Sheikh International Airport, which provides service for regular flights from many destinations around the world. It's 10 minutes away from the conference venue. Around the conference venue, there are many nearby hotels and hostels. The official ones will be of wide range of rates. Some of them are just 5 to 10 minutes walking distance, and some are 10 to 15 minutes driving distance. The host committee arranged interesting social activities to enrich the cultural exchange during the opening ceremony, the international night, the outdoor dinner, and closing ceremony with traditional folkloric show to let the participants explore the variety of Egyptian culture. Solidarity program is initiated to make sure that most NSOs are represented. There will be a chance for youth participants from certain NSOs to attend the World Scout Youth Forum, which is an educational platform allows to empower youth and also involves them in decision making through attending the World Scout Conference. Scouts from all Scout regions will be invited to be part of the host committee working teams. They will be called International Volunteer Teams, IVT, which is a good opportunity to share and gain experience and for sure to enrich the work environment. Also, they will have the chance to discover and live the Egyptian life. Accompanying persons will enjoy the beauty of Sharm el-Sheikh, doing many interesting activities and visits. They will visit St. Catherine Monastery and Moses Mountain. They will go on cruise and safari. They will entertain in Soho Square, Naama Bay, and many magnificent places. Also, the host committee will offer different touristic programs before and after the conference to all the participants to visit the Egyptian touristic places like Sphinx and Pyramids of Giza, Cairo, Luxor, Aswan, Alexandria, and the Oasis. Thank you, and see you in Egypt 2020. And now, let's dive in our video.
The 42nd World Scout Conference, Egypt 2020. Welcome to Egypt. The Egyptian Scout movement was founded in 1914 and over more than 100 years participated actively at the global, regional and local levels. Egypt has hosted many regional and international Scout events and participated in most global events. It also plays an active role in the local community, educates young people and prepares an active generation and a good citizen through its wide geographical spread and fruitful cooperation with most youth and community stakeholders, from ministries, universities, schools and youth clubs. The World Scout Conference will have a great role to enrich these local, regional and global cooperations. The World Scout Youth Forum, the venue, Sharm el-Sheikh Youth City. The date, 17th to 21st of August 2020. The Youth City of Sharm el-Sheikh is a great place to host the World Scout Youth Forum with its fantastic facilities and services. It has a conference hall equipped with displays, sound and light systems. It has a main meeting hall, 4 sub-halls suitable for workshops, a computer lab for participants, and a permanent internet connection. The Youth City restaurant offers a variety of cuisines that suits the needs of all participants. The city also has a variety of highly equipped accommodation rooms and many entertainment and relaxation services, such as sauna, massage, jacuzzi and gym. The city also has outdoor swimming pool, green spaces, and a wonderful hall for various games such as handball, basketball, etc. Then we will fly together outside the city to enjoy the beauty of Sharm el-Sheikh with its inter-event program for the participants of the forum and conference to do together many adventure games such as diving, swimming, snorkeling, canoeing and parasailing in Dahab, the charming touristic city. Then we will climb together Mount Moses, the highest mountain peak in Egypt, to enjoy the sunrise and visit the historic St. Catherine's Monastery. Then we will move to Ras Muhammad Reserve. During this program, we will enjoy many social activities to prepare ourselves to participate in the 42nd World Scout Conference and celebrate together the centenary of World Conferences. The World Scout Conference, the venue, Sharm el-Sheikh International Congress Center. The date, 24 to 28 of August 2020. Located at the heart of Sharm el-Sheikh and only 10 kilometers away from the international airport, Maritime Jollyville is only 2 minutes away from Nama Bay and from dozens of other hotels. The center features multiple halls, which make it suitable for hosting various conferences and meetings where it encompasses 12 meeting rooms and multi-purpose rooms accommodate between 20 and 2,000 with total of 4,000 persons. Central reception area of 3,000 square meters, 600 square meters registration area, and 6 VIP meeting rooms. The center also features a 24 hours free internet connection, simultaneous translation into 7 languages, a great sound and light systems, and advanced display, centralized control for cool and warm temperature. So Egypt and the Egyptian Federation for Scouts and Girl Guides wishes to see you in Egypt. Thanks for watching and waiting for you to dive into the future with us in 2020.
Right, we thank our friends from Egypt, and we certainly look forward to participating in the World Conference and also the Youth Forum in 2020. All right, in the following session, the presentations of partners, we have extended invitation to several esteemed individuals who represent organizations that the WUSM Asia Pacific region has the privilege to be partners with in this triennium. The organizations will be sharing with us insights of the organization's role in the development of young people and also some highlights of their partnerships and programs with the Scout movement. King Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz International Center for Inter-Religious and Intercultural Dialogue, or KAICID, is an intergovernmental organization whose mandate is to promote inter-religious and intercultural dialogue to prevent and resolve conflict to enhance understanding and cooperation. The Dialogue for Peace program is our partnership program with KAICID that invites Scouts to discover how we can incorporate dialogue into our everyday lives. As we do not have a presenter for this session, a video on KAICID will be presented instead.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, and brothers and sisters in Scouting, it's an honor to join you at this important conference for the Asia Pacific Scouts region. On behalf of the International Dialogue Center, KAICID, I would like to warmly thank you for inviting me to speak about the work we are doing to support change makers around the world. KAICID is an international intergovernmental organization whose mandate is to promote dialogue, to foster cooperation between religious leaders and policymakers, to counteract stereotypes and to foster reconciliation. KAICID sees young people as essential for change and therefore wanted to develop a program that could equip participants with the understanding and skills of dialogue. And so we did. Working in close cooperation with the World Organization of the Scouts Movement, we developed a flagship capacity building program for young people, which many of you are familiar with, the Dialogue for Peace program, known as the DFP program. Through this program, the Scouts and KAICID have been able to engage with youth from all Scout regions and share with them how dialogue can be used as a tool for creating a culture of peace and to provide hands-on experience to feel confident to participate in peace processes. Since the signing of a memorandum of understanding between CAICID and the World Organization of the Scouts movement in 2013, over 2,000 Scouts and young people have benefited from the DFP program. Each year the program is getting bigger because of your interest and the value you see in learning how to be dialogical individuals and sharing that learning with others. One of the main objectives of the DFP program is to break down barriers, misperceptions, and dispel stereotypes. Using the principles of dialogue has many benefits. It helps guide us to learn from each other, solve problems, and have difficult conversations. Sometimes conversations are about differences, and I would like to emphasize that we should not be afraid of dealing with differences. When we understand our differences and have mutual respect, we can, in turn, find our similarities and be proud of them and celebrate them. We have received much positive feedback, and there are many stories of transformation as a result of a learning from the DFP program. For the Scouts and CAICID, these are great news. What we are doing is working. However, we realize we need to do more, and we are up for the challenge. More girls and women are getting involved in the DFP program as participants, trainers, and facilitators. Including girls and women and enabling them with the confidence and tools to have an active voice in the dialogue, the peace process, and beyond, it's critical. Not only do girls' and women's voices bring a gendered perspective, they are also strong forces in preventing conflict. The role women play in the promoting peace, dialogue, and ending hostilities cannot be undermined. Research shows that when women are involved and participate in all parts of the peace processes, they are also, as a result, more effective and overall more sustainable. We hope that you can be part of this change with us, because we need to act now and to ensure that girls and women are provided with the necessary tools and skills to be actors in future peace talks and in decision-making. We value our partnership with the Scouts very much and with the Asia-Pacific region in particular. We are thrilled to share with you that two of your brothers in the Asia-Pacific Scouting, Tan Zijie and Sid Castillo, became certified dialogue trainers in a couple of days ago. We're looking forward to more of you becoming involved in the DFP and gaining dialogue certification. The collaboration between CAICID and the Scouts is a testament to what can be done when synergies are brought together. We can create innovative ideas and reach unique solutions. Only through cooperative actions we will achieve peaceful coexistence in our global village. In closing, I would like to thank you all and wish you all the best during this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Andrea Van Selter, if you're watching us live. As we know, one of our strategic priorities of Scouting is in diversity and inclusion. And so we certainly believe that our partnership with CAICID, especially the Dialogue for Peace program, would enable Scouts to be more effective dialogue warriors to achieving peace, coexistence, and building bridges in all our communities. Worldwide Fund for Nature. Worldwide Fund for Nature's mission is to stop the degradation of the Earth's natural environment and to build a future in which humans live in harmony with nature by conserving the world's biological diversity, ensuring that the use of renewable natural resources is sustainable, and promoting the reduction of pollution and wasteful consumption. The WWF and WOSM have been in collaboration with environmental education since 1973, and the World Scout Environment Program, now in its 10th year, and the Earth Hour are also examples of our collaborative effort. We're indeed privileged to have with us at this conference Ms. Chitra Venkatesh, Head of Education, Worldwide Fund for Nature, who will be sharing with us about the WWF's role and program and partnership with the Scout movement. Ms. Chitra, please. All right, we seem to be facing some technical difficulties. Are we ready? Sure, we will. All right, we'll go to the presentation from our next partner, the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award. The Duke of Edinburgh's International Award is the world's leading youth achievement award, and since its launched in 1956, the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award has inspired millions of young people aged 14 to 24 to transform their lives. And many scouting activities count towards sections of the Duke of Edinburgh's Award. And scouts are also encouraged to engage in activities that otherwise might not have been done. We're indeed very privileged to have with us at this conference Mr. Joel Grant, the Regional Manager for the Asia-Pacific region, who will be sharing with us about the award's role in the development of the young people, its program, and partnership with the Scout movement.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Joel Grant, please. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends old and new, Magandang Umaga. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Foundation, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude for having the opportunity to talk before you all today. As Sir mentioned, my name is Joel Grant, the Regional Manager for Asia Pacific, and I'm here to tell you how our two great organizations can work together to help young people find their purpose, passion, and place in the world. One of the reoccurring themes that I've noted in this conference is the need to adapt and develop to our ever-changing world. The world is changing rapidly, and it's becoming more and more evident that we need to properly equip our young people for life. Already, we have seen a move from the digital age into the social age, and before we even have time to blink again, it's going to be the next age. To ensure we meet the growing demand for youth development, one of the biggest challenges for our organizations is answering the question, how do we stay relevant? The world keeps moving, and so must we. As WASM is the leading movement for non-formal education, I'm sure that everyone here today can appreciate the importance of it. Around the world, it has become evident that formal education in the classroom is simply not enough to ensure young people are ready and equipped to face the world. Arguably, the relevance and need for non-formal education is greater now than at any time before. Globally, we are facing the major issue of youth unemployment. Of the 1.8 billion young people aged between 15 and 30 in the world today, 87% are living in developing countries. 15 to 30-year-olds currently make up 40% of the world's unemployed. Violence and extremism are real risks for under 25-year-olds who feel economically excluded, and joblessness has been shown to have long-term psychological effects. Young people are often overprotected and not exposed to the risks that will help them learn valuable life experiences. They are often being taught to pass exams and tests, but are left underprepared for the world of work. This has been linked to academic burnout and the correlation between academic success and some of the world's most unhappy people. Young people need all the help they can get to be prepared for life and work. They also need the resilience not to be defeated by the first setback after they leave school. Judging by the demand for non-formal education, young people realize the positive impact that it can have on their lives and their future. Nevertheless, many more still have no awareness nor access to it. Our challenge is to meet the demand and fulfill the need by reaching out further. In doing so, we must try to justify everyone's expectations of non-academic qualifications. The award is a valuable tool that defines what good non-formal education looks like. Through developing transferable skills, increasing the fitness levels, cultivating a spirit of adventure, and volunteering in the community, the award provides a tried and tested framework for its delivery in any context where young people might be gathered. It also allows achievement to be recognised in a way that is consistent worldwide, thus giving young people internationally recognised accreditation of their experiences. During this conference, I've heard one of the challenges faced by WASM is ensuring this continuous improvement for young people. The progressive nature of the award and its internationally recognised accreditation can ensure that young people not only take up the challenge of non-formal education, but continue to improve through it into adulthood.
Securing the future of Earth, amazing.
Like the Scouts, we believe that every young person should have the opportunity to participate in non-formal education, regardless of their background or circumstance. More Scouts equal a better world. And I'm going to show you how the award can be used as a tool for the Scouts to grow and stabilise. Geographically reaching across half the globe and consisting of half the world's population, I truly believe that Asia Pacific is the key to achieving our shared goals. The Duke of Edinburgh's International Award and the World Organisation of the Scout Movement are long-standing partners, and the two organisations have affirmed their complementary values and goals. Both organisations have seen achievements in recent years through strengthening links at a national level. By building more partnerships with NSOs around the region, we can combine our efforts in supporting young people to find their purpose, place, and passion in the world, to make it better for all. It's fair to say that most Scouts around the world are in some way or form already doing all that's required to achieve their award. So what additional benefits can the award bring to Scouts? Simply put, the award is an internationally recognised non-formal education curriculum, consistent throughout the world, but with the flexibility to meet individual needs and wants. Furthermore, it's a fantastic way of celebrating young people's achievements, widely recognised by employers and educators alike. It's for these reasons that the award appeals to so many young people around the world and can be used as an effective tool for growth and stability by the Scouts. In conjunction with the University of Surrey in the UK, the International Award Foundation has undertaken extensive research on the social values that the award can have on young people. This research has shown that the award positively impacts on confidence, managing feelings, resilience and determination, relationships and leadership, creativity and adaptability, planning and problem solving, civic competence, intercultural competence, personal and social well-being, and communication. These social values should sound very familiar to you all, as it is embodied in the testimony from the Scouts. The award is not just another badge. It represents the hallmark of what we are. What's even better is that the award framework fits perfectly into existing programs that are run by NSOs around the world. Indeed, a lot of work has been done mapping Scouting programs with the award framework to show how young Scouts can achieve added qualifications just by undertaking Scouting programs, such as the Queen Scout Award, or its equivalent in your NSO. Here are some examples. I'd now like to share some valuable insights into some amazing case studies of where the award has been utilised as an effective tool by NSOs around the world to ensure young people have the best possible opportunities for the future. In Australia, a formal MOU was signed between the NSO and the award, and since then, many members of Scouts Australia have earned their Duke of Edinburgh's International Award in conjunction with their scouting. Indeed, I've met a few of them this week already. Both Scouting and the award aim to develop the potential of young Australians, no matter their background or circumstance. In Nepal, championed by my friend Devraj, the National Office of the Award applied successfully for special projects grants to enable young Scouts from across the country to take part in their award. Through the special projects of the International Award Foundation, young Scouts in Nepal now have the opportunity to gain additional international qualifications for their Scouting activities. In Asia Pacific, I'm looking for more NSOs from across the region to champion and utilize these special project grants. The award and Scouts in New Zealand have also signed a formal MOU, and the two organisations enjoy a great partnership. The simple structured framework of the award fits perfectly to complement the Ventures program, so young people can achieve double qualifications for their achievements. In the USA, a new national partnership between the award and the Boy Scouts of America has been effective, increasing the reach for both organisations. If a young person in the USA wishes to take part in the award, they are immediately directed to their local troop to undertake the award as a newly joined Scout. It has been noted that the award has helped to make Scouts more competitive in the world and increase their overall numbers. To quote the Chief Executive of the Boy Scouts of America, the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award is a natural fit with Scouting's programs, and we are proud to offer additional opportunities that develop and recognise the achievements of the youth as the future world leaders. These are just a few of the fantastic case studies to showcase the amazing things that Scouts and the award can achieve together. It's my hope that the award can continue to be used as an effective tool for growth by NSOs around the region, to provide young people in Asia Pacific access to non-formal education and to find their purpose, place, and passion in the world. You can call me biased, but I sincerely believe that our region, Asia Pacific, is by far the best and by far the most important, and together we can achieve greatness to create a better world. I leave you today with a quote from one of the founders of the award and a pioneer for non-formal education. It is culpable neglect not to impel young people into experiences. In other words, it is our responsibility to work as hard as we can together to push young people into new experiences and enable them to achieve the very best they can. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Joel Grant, for that insightful presentation. As we have heard, the award is a global framework for non-formal education, which is entirely complementary with the values and the goals of Scouting. And we like to encourage all NSOs in the region who have yet to embark on this collaborative scheme to consider alignment of their youth program alongside the Duke of Edinburgh's award. Once again, thank you, Mr. Joel Grant. All right, we apologize for the technical difficulties we faced earlier. We'd like to call upon the Ms. Chitra Venkatesh, the Head of Education for Worldwide Fund for Nature, who will be sharing with us the WWF's role and programs and partnerships with the Scout movement. Chitra, thank you.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you very much for extending this wonderful invitation to be here and speak to all of you this afternoon. So without too much, let me just quickly go into my presentation. As most of you know, WOSM and WWF have renewed their partnership. Like it was mentioned earlier, we have a very old partnership. It was started sometime in 1973 with the World Conservation Badge that some of you may have earned when you were much younger. So please hold on to that badge. It may become a very important collector's item very soon. So, of course, there may also be some people who thought about the World Wrestling Federation when you heard the word WWF just now. Put up your hands if you did that. Okay. So, let me just go on to tell you why I'm here. I'm still facing some technical difficulties. Okay, so let me just quickly go through 3 problems that we are facing right now. One, of course, everybody knows. Global climate is not doing all that well. You've seen the reports that have emerged just last week that we are rushing towards the 1.5 degrees right now, and something needs to be done urgently if we want life to go on Earth. Problem number 2 is this consumption. All of us are guilty of overconsumption. We are consuming more than what the planet can sustain at this point. So we are using up to 1.7 planets at this point. And you know what happens. This is like having a credit card and not really thinking about what's going to happen when I can't pay back. So there will come a day when everything falls apart. So we are heading steadily towards that direction where we are consuming more than what Earth can produce. And because of this, we are also losing nature. Can you imagine a world of scouting without nature? Because that's something that we want to avoid at any cost. And that's where the partnership between WWF and Scouting comes. Because we both need nature to be intact. We are the ones who are capable of getting people to live in harmony with nature. We were able to do that many generations ago. We were people who were living in harmony with nature. And we need to bring that back, getting people, mobilizing communities. And who better to do this than the Scouts? But the important thing is the solutions that we are looking for are all there. But what we are missing is the ingredient, the very important ingredient that the Scouts bring to us, the young people who can mobilize communities to make this happen. And we are heading towards this 2020 super year when a lot of these important decisions are going to be made. So mobilizing people, mobilizing communities to start taking nature important, making sure that it's important for everybody is what we are heading towards. And Scouts come in and play a really big part in joining us as consumers, as NGOs, as people on the ground, putting the pressure on businesses, putting the pressure on institutions and the governments to ensure that they are doing the right thing so that we are having a world that's sustainable. And that's what this World Scouts, the WOSM and the WWF partnership is all about. And this was announced, as most of you know, just before Earth Hour in early March this year. And I have a video with me to show you how, even though it's the 11th year of Earth Hour, it has been one of the best, most impactful years because of the Scouts partnership.
Earth Hour 2018 just broke yet another record in participation. And we have started our new campaign to raise the profile of the importance of biodiversity and nature, building a compelling narrative on why nature is fundamental to our well-being, health, happiness, society, and economy. It is about connecting to Earth, and it is about learning to live in harmony with nature. Perhaps most of all, is about securing the future of Earth's amazing diversity of life and our own. We can secure a healthy planet for all if we join forces and voices. Join us. Connect to Earth. Together possible.
It's just another night, and I'm staring at the moon. I saw a shooting star and thought of you. I sang a lullaby by the waterside and knew if you were here, I'd sing to you. other side as the skyline splits in two.
Climate change is moving much faster than we are. Resources and ecosystems across the world are under assault. Earth Hour is an opportunity to show our resolve to change, turning out the lights and turning up the pressure for a healthy planet.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So open your eyes and see.
The lights have been turned off at some of the world's most famous landmarks.
In India, landmarks like India Gate, War Memorial.
In Hong Kong, several buildings along the skyline flipped a switch.
Here in the Bay Area, dim their lights to celebrate Earth.
Paris to Greece.
Denmark, worldwide, plunged into darkness today.
Dimming the lights isn't the only thing we can do to help.
Earth Hour is really about people. It's about the collective power of individuals participating in a global conversation and pressing for action. This year we're asking people to connect to Earth, to raise awareness and press for action around the loss of nature.
This is an environment that I want to protect for my future generations.
Connect to Earth. 一起关灯。
Connect to Earth.
Conéctate al planeta.
Start the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google it, your social media. Speak up for your cause and connect to Earth. Together, possible.
By donating to Earth, by conserving water. This is our home!
This is our home.
So that was our Earth Hour video for 2018. And if you observed carefully, you'd see for every 2 frames, there's one that was contributed by the scouts from around the world. And this is how strong the partnership is. And I'm here to urge you to take this partnership beyond Earth Hour. So let me share a couple of case studies from Asia Pacific about how Earth Hour is just a starting point, but Scouts and WWF partnership is gone beyond Earth Hour. So this is Earth Hour in Singapore. We've been working with the Singapore Scouts for 6 years now, and they are there supporting the event every year. And then we have scouts in the Philippines and said, hey, we are having an Earth Hour event. Would you want to join us? And they said, of course, yes. We'll bring in 5,000 scouts. And WWF Philippines went, 5,000 scouts? We've never managed such a big group. Can we start with 1,000 first and then work our way up to 5,000 next year? So that's how fantastic the response has been in some of the countries. And we even have people from WWF who are working closely with the Scouts. It's not just the weight. So for example, this is Ari from our WWF Indonesia office. If any of you know him, please know that he's also a panda in disguise. And here's another video that was created by WWF in India, who went really big for Earth Hour this year.
It started with a dream where the world was not being poisoned by plastics. We couldn't help but wonder, can this dream come true? What can the world give up to become a plastic-free place? We met someone who shared the same dream. 5.6 million Bharat Scouts and Guides.
The Bharat Scouts and Guides have come up with an idea of giving up plastics, which we use in our daily scout life.
I, as National Commissioner, take the first initiative, even though we have been practicing, take the initiative to remove the plastic and put on the eco-friendly Vogel. This Vogel is a symbol of scouting throughout the world.
We remember all the Bharat Scouts and Guides. Give up plastic to never give up.
Together, let's improve the one home we share.
The story taught us one simple lesson. All conservation efforts start with a dream.
And that was just the starting. I hear that they are moving towards making all of their scouting events plastic free as well. And besides that, they're also working very closely with WWF India to review their education programs in India. And the WWF office regularly contributes to their newsletter as well. And in Hong Kong, they've just recently signed a letter of intent where they have actually put one of the WWF education staff on their committee to help them review their education processes in the Scouts programs. And they've also signed an understanding to help with citizen science in one of the conservation areas in Hong Kong called the Hoi Ha Wan Conservation Area. And they will be doing 4 types of surveys and then they will be contributing to the conservation efforts in that particular place. So this is another great example. And I want to urge you to think about how you can do the same thing. So I saw so many booths outside there, I would love to get Nepal, for example, to come in, Pakistan. I want all of you to start working with the WWF offices. I'm here to help you make that connection with your local WWF offices. I'm here for the rest of today. Please come look for me. I'd be happy to take your name cards, make that connection with the people from your own countries. We have fantastic stories coming from around the world, but the majority of the population in the world, 60% of the world's population lives in Asia Pacific, and we need more Asia Pacific NSOs getting on board with this and partnering with WWF to make things happen with young people. So please come look for me if you want to get connected to the WWF offices in your country. I'll be more than happy to make that facilitation. So thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with this last video that says, together we can make it happen. So together possible.
Now shush, she makes the sound she makes to calm me down.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tricia. Thank you for all the very heartwarming and uplifting videos, you know. And our planet is indeed under threat from climate change and a staggering loss of biodiversity. So there's an important role for all of us Scouts in creating a more sustainable world. And I'm sure we are even more excited now to work together with WWF, right? And to create that global momentum, right, that we need to inspire our young people into creating a sustainable planet for all of us. So if you can catch hold of Chitra while she's still here at the conference, right, to make things happen for your NSO. Right, we have come to the end of the presentations from our partners. On behalf of the conference, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of you presenters who are present today and the insights which you have brought to our delegates. And we noticed in all our collaborations, we were able to identify a lot of commonalities in our vision and our values, and most importantly, our common goal, which is to create a better world. I'm pretty sure with our like-mindedness, our passion and enthusiasm, right, we will be able to continue to achieve that win-win outcome for both our organizations. Thank you once again. Shall we give a big round of applause to all our partners once again? Thank you. All right, we are now entering the next segment of our plenary session, which is to receive reports from the discussions that took place this morning at the breakout groups. Well, in the interest of time, we'd like to set some housekeeping rules. And first of all, we'd like to invite all presenters and rapporteurs for each of the presenting groups to be seated near the stage. If you have not done so, please make your way to this part of the stage, right? And we should also be mindful of keeping to the 8 to 10 minutes that's allocated for each presentation. And for the benefit of the delegates, please note also that all these materials will be distributed as conference document number 21/18. All right, may I now call upon the presenters for the first of the 7 breakout groups, the APR Plan 2018 to 2021, and the WUSM Triennial Plan 2017 to 2020. Presenters, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So I'm here to give a brief overview of what is the discussion outcome from this breakout group, WUSM Triennial Plan 2017 and 2020, and also the APR Plan 2018 to 2021. So first of all, is it working? Great. First of all, it is very important for us to look again for the 6 strategic priorities that is identified in the World Triennial Plan, which includes youth engagement, educational methods, diversity and inclusion, social impacts, communications and relations, and governance. In order to align the World Triennial Plan and the regional plans, this is what we are doing currently. There is the Vision 2023, and these are the 6 strategic priorities from all the WUSM Triennial Plans. And what we are doing now is to align the global plans and the WUSM Triennial Plans and the regional plans. So now I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we have discussed in the breakouts. In terms of young people, what the group thinks is e-learning should be implemented across all the action steps, and the KPI of youth involvement is challenging, but the entire group also acknowledged that it is important for us to move forward youth engagement and youth involvement in all levels and to continue to promote youth involvement in all aspects. Furthermore, there is also important to realize the legal framework before implementing that. Secondly, for adult in scouting, It is well recognized that all NSO should review their AIS policy regularly, and the KPIs are generally in line with the NSO needs. It is always important to acknowledge the cooperation between the other leaders and to have continuous improvement in all the frameworks. And also, the safe from harm policy should be reviewed to encourage adoption in all levels. In terms of governance, there are two slightly recommendations towards the KPIs, and there are some other recommendations not listed here. There is also a recommendation to have additional objectives to be considered. That is to completely align the next Asia-Pacific Regional Strategic Plan with the WUSAN Plan, and to including the alignment of all the 6 strategic priorities. In terms of finance, the breakout group also think it is important to focus more on financial management in order to cater the NSO needs, but not just to promote financial resources and other financial management. And also there should be guidelines including funding sources, including management, investment, or setting up national foundations. And it is also important to have e-learning across all different action steps. In terms of communications and partnerships, there should be development of informal information exchange platform so that people do not need to meet only at the conference to exchange ideas, but rather than there should be a regular platform for people to exchange their ideas. And it is important to make good use of the WUSAN portal to exchange ideas and to give feedbacks on all the things. And furthermore, there should also be a guideline for partnership to make sure that the partners that we are currently having are in line with the values of Scouting, and to take reference with the existing partners in the world level. After discussing all these, we did a very simple paradigm exercise to point out what are the key action steps that is important for the next incoming regional Scout committee and the subcommittee to look at it, because these are the most important action steps in the eyes of the NSOs. For young people, that is to encourage NSO to actively involve young people under 30 in their decision-making channels. For communications and partnerships, it is to share a strategy of communications and strategy engagements. For finance, it is to facilitate and share the best practices in gathering financial resources, including fundings, and also to establish and strengthen our Scout supply services, including Scout shops, campsites, hostels, hotels, and others. For governance, it is inevitably the most important action to do GSET certifications. Not just external certifications, but also self-assessment is important in this process. Last but not least, in terms of EDA in Scouting, it should also support NSOs in conduct quality training events, including workshops, courses, and seminars. And now Malcolm will give a final wrap up regarding the breakouts. Mark, please.
Thank you very much, Maury. Can you give a warm round of applause to Maury?
Thank you.
The breakout group on alignment of the regional plan worked very, very hard. And as you can see, we tried to live out the spirit of what Scouting is trying to do. We empowered the young person to do the presentation. I'm an adult, I'm supporting him. We are governed by a particular time frame. We have spent our own money and finances to come here, and I'm sure Maury communicated really well. Please give him a warm round of applause again. Now, the members of all of you who were at the workout, at the breakout group earlier, gave your very helpful and important feedback to us. We will collate all the feedback, all the suggestions, and all of the points that were raised. They will be summarized, collated, and they will be forwarded to the new regional committee, who will consider what is going to happen. We will consider whether to adopt these new ideas that will serve as an addendum to the regional plan. I now call upon the presiding officer to bring us forward to the next step.
All right, thank you, Maury and Malcolm. May I now request the conference, to endorse the draft regional plan 2018 to 2021 in principle. right? And by way of applause, but we also realize that there will be some more work to be done and completed and presented to the Regional Scout Committee later on. If you, yeah, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you, Malcolm and Maury.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks. Right, we'll now have the presenters for the second breakout group, the Diversity and Inclusion and Dialogue for Peace, please.
Hello. Okay. My name is Belinda, and my partner is Atik. So for this session, we are going to talk about the diversity and inclusion, the report from our breakout this morning. So the summary from the diversity and inclusion is important consideration for every NSOs. Each NSO should develop a position paper which considers diversity and inclusion. So we have some recommendations from this breakout group. Each NSO is encouraged to develop or review its guidelines, governance, and the methods. The Scout program should be inclusive and include appropriate inclusive aspect. An example is interreligious, intercultural, and cross-borders, which celebrate diversity and inclusion in their NSOs. At the national level, a diversity and inclusion task force should be formed with responsibility to create a training program for NSOs and to consider gender balance in the region. Also, to implement this, a train of trainers concept be used in training for all aspects of diversity and inclusion. And the next one is appropriate gender representation, particularly for women and girls, is important at all levels in Scouting. In order to promote gender balance, it is suggested to put optional, non-mandatory quotas at levels, and especially the regional level for the regional committee, subcommittee, and young adult members group. We found these pictures around the hall outdoor, and it says Scouting has no gender, no age, no color, and no map. So welcome all of you to find this in the outdoor at the mall. And now I pass to Atik.
Thank you. Last but not least, for the diversity and inclusion, to support membership growth and the development of inclusive Scouting, we encourage WIRSM to send letters to the President, Government, and Parliament of country seeking their support of Scouting. Through this support, recognition and encouragement, the Scouting movement will be enhanced and membership can grow reflecting the diversity and the richness of each country. Now, I will present for the Dialogue for Peace. As you've seen in the picture, some people say, so the person say 4, and the other one is no, it's 3. So everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. This is because we have to achieve the mutual understanding. So the Dialogue for Peace recommendation. The Global Dialogue for Peace program should be instituted by every NSO. Each NSO should have at least 2 or 3 trained facilitators for the Dialogue for Peace. Next. NSOs should involve non-Scouts together with Scouts in the Dialogue for Peace program. The cross-border NSO dialogue training should be encouraged within the communities and the Scouts. Now, to conclude, To end my slide, Belinda and me, presentation, it is in our hand. We can do this. We will do this together. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Atik and Belinda, for the presentation. We now invite the presenters for the third breakout group, World Adults in Scouting, the AI's Policy and E-Learning. Wow, the whole team is here. We only have 10 minutes.
We'll try and stay to the 10 minutes, Che. Friends, the conversation that we had today was about World Adults in Scouting and also e-learning. And it was a great opportunity across many NSOs to do a deep dive into where are we at with the new World Adults in Scouting policy, how many NSOs had embraced it, what else needed to be done, and what are some of the great opportunities with e-learning. The breakout groups then went into some workshops, and I've got a team here that want to present each of those key outcomes, and so I'll hand over to them.
Right. So our first segment was recruitment. In recruitment, appointment, the key ideas from this session, adults need to know the requirements and need of the role.
The importance of bringing right person to the right role.
So the breakout group recommends a clear job description needs to be documented and provided. These include listing the points such as the terms of appointment and specific duties. Thank you.
Thank you.
Regarding induction of members, we believe there needs to be a consistency and clarity in the process for inducting our members of adults. We need to provide a range of multimodal deliveries, from e-learning to face-to-face to campfire to residential. We need a good handover method from one leader to the next to ensure that knowledge is retained and not lost in the transition. So the breakout group recommends that setting clear documentation for NSOs to induct new adult appointees, and for regional events to support safe from harm training. The key ideas from the training session were the importance of having the right participant for the right workshop and sessions. Several of our brothers and sisters indicated that in recent times, participants have come without perhaps the right mindset to be involved and follow up with their ideas after the events. And we believe that people need to be following with the right intentions. Therefore, the breakout group recommends that we update the training tool package from the APR, and we conduct orientation courses for NSOs and assist in setting up these networking opportunities for trainers throughout the region.
In service support, the key ideas from the session, school-based scouting has less flexibility to emphasize the need to cultivate interactions between unit leaders. For the breakpoint, group recommends give structures and support for dialogues on in-service support for unit leaders. Thank you.
For performance management, our key ideas included the need for communication, motivation and personal enhancement in order for unit leaders or all leaders within Scouting to be able to succeed in their roles through a management process on how they are performing. So the breakout groups recommendation includes sharing of performance management systems between NSOs, particularly to those who do not have a performance management system and want to introduce something like that into their NSO to assist their leaders to grow and enhance and to be motivated for the future. And also for a workshop within the APR to support trainers and NSOs on performance management. For decisions for the future, key ideas included that adults should make decisions for the future based on the input of young people. So from the breakout group, we recommend that we provide 18 to 30-year-old leaders more opportunities. Should they make the mistakes within their being an adults in scouting, support them and be part of their journey together, and enable succession planning within the region and NSOs so that these young people, our future, are able to come up to the roles that we are here in this conference for.
For the recognition, the key ideas of the sessions were to to focus on keeping our members and not losing them very quickly. For that, the breakout group recommends all NSOs to offer recognition awards for all levels of scouting, and also to award not just for years of service but the good deeds done. It also focuses on APR to conduct training on informal recognition systems with the AIS life cycle in mind. For the general recommendations from the breakout groups, adult training in scouting needs to be more adapted with the different kind of methods to perform them, and which of course emphasizing on e-learning opportunities encouraged by the APR region. Also, a formal informal network to share ideas within the region for the trainees should be adopted. Guidelines for best practice on all parts of the AIS life cycles should be done, and as retirement shouldn't be considered as implying old age, which isn't necessarily accurate, but APR to understand this can mean taking a break, not permanently, from scouting. Thank you.
And so to close out, friends, Adults in Scouting is about those three fundamental pillars: recruitment, performance and decision for the future. Let us all look wide, let us think differently, and let's act on those outcomes. Thank you.
Right, thank you for the team for World Adults in Scouting AIS policy and e-learning. The next group will present on the educational methods in GSAT.
Here you go. Good afternoon. We did the educational methods in GSAT, led by Rio, and I'm Chris Bates, and my friend Alex is here as well. We talked about the GSAT as not being an intrusive element of our operations, and we had to come up with some recommendations for both the national officers and the APR. From the youth program perspective, and Alex will talk about adults and skating. For the youth program perspective, the NSOs are encouraged to improve their relationships with government. And this is about recognising that some are working with school-based systems and some are working with community. And so with the school-based system, they need to be able to explore how they can better utilise and access the youth program that's available. The voice of the youth should be involved and allowed for a mistake within the program. So this is saying that the youth wish to participate, are participating, and perhaps it doesn't just go right the first time or the second time. Is that a problem? No, it shouldn't be. This is about learning. And so let them play with this program, let them participate with everybody in developing the program, and if there's a mistake, then we can move forward with it. The third point is about funding. This is not just about funding dollars to assist with the youth program. This is also about partnerships. Perhaps there's something in kind. Perhaps they can donate the use of a hall, donate use of products to assist in the delivery of your program. The fourth point, strategic, operational and working groups. We need to have each NSO's boards and councils work strategically on what is in the GSAT, understand what it is, to see where it's going and look at the benefits. From there, they should be passing this through to their operational teams. The operational teams are there to work out how to make this happen, who's going to be involved to achieve all the elements of the GSAT. And then it goes to the next group, all those working groups, and this could be right down to the leaders within the units and the troops to make it happen. So collectively, your NSO is fully engaged in the entire process of the GSAT, strategic, operationally and working. Fifth point is the youth involvement. They need to be not just sitting on a committee and being part of the development of the youth program. It needs to be more interactive. They need to be able to play with it, work with it, design it and develop it. Not just be on a committee as that person who's under 30. The sixth point comes to the APR, and we'd like to see a review of the effectiveness of the GSAT, and particularly around the self-assessment. Some of the NSOs might be just that little bit too tough on themselves and they're scoring themselves a 0 or a 1 when perhaps they're doing a lot better than what they think they are. A little bit too self-critical. Perhaps there's the opposite view where, let's give ourselves the benefit of the doubt, we'll make it a 3, not a 2 or a 1. So let's review that, and perhaps the APR can pick that up for us and work out a way to assist us on our track of self-assessment. So that's what we came up with for the youth program within the educational movement of the GSAT. Over to Alex.
Good day, everyone. Actually, I'm not Alex, but the same 4-letter words. Actually, I'm Axel. Okay.
My greatest apologies.
No worries. Okay. So anyway, I would like to request every one of you to put down your smartphone, your iPad, or even your computer, because the real principle or meaning or underpinning action of the 3 bullet points I'm going to explain to you. So if you miss it, you won't find it on the Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. All right? So listen carefully. So the first one, I think we have to emphasize that we have the educational method. But the educational method, we are talking about the scouting. It's not records, it's not the Boys Brigade, we are talking about scouting educational method, okay? And this is the central in all of our NSO, the scouting policy. When you go back to your NSO, that will be one of the underpinning actions under the dimension number 6 under the GSAT, okay? And the bullet point 2 and number 3, I think you have seen the few words about the inclusive of young adults, young leaders. We are now living in a technology disruptive world, okay? Our distance or our connection could be so short or could be so far away. So the only way that no matter in which age group you are in, we have to be working together. And that is how and why we have put down the words inclusive of young adults, no matter in the succession planning, no matter in the scouting committee. And I believe everyone here, most of you are holding different resources in your NSO. And if we could do the same thing when we return home, we are doing it like a movement. And if all of us doing that movement, it becomes a revolution. And the revolution will help us to bring the Scout movement to be flourishing again in every part of this world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Axel and Chris Bates, for the presentation. We'll now invite the team from the breakout group, Scouting and the Sustainable Development Goals, to come up to the stage, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, all.
My name is Luke Braithwaite, and I am from New Zealand.
I'm Ali from Thailand.
We were part of the breakout group, which focused on sustainable development goals and scouting. The session started with an overview of the SDGs and how this relates to scouting. This also gave us an overview of WASM's vision and how they perceive SDGs to be incorporated further into scouting, right down to the unit and individual level. In groups, we were tasked with discussing the SDGs and analysing what is being done within our respective NSOs at present, which helps achieve some of these. This helped with our understanding of the strengths and weaknesses within each NSO, which started the thought process of what we can do to include more SDGs in our NSOs. We were then tasked with answering questions, which we have grouped into themes.
We got a lot of key issues from the discussion, but we come up for 6 common key issues that are affecting young people in our country as following. The first one, climate change and environmental problems. Second one, economy. Next, prosperity, inequalities, poverty, and quality of education. By the way, these are 6 key issues that we got. It's not stand for only one goal from sustainable development, but also cover all the goals from SDG.
So what support and resources do NSOs need to successfully integrate education for SDGs into Scout youth programs? So the group decided we need guidelines and suggestion of activities through documents, webinars and toolkits, collaboration and connections with external groups, support from WASM, APR and governments, workshops, marketing and idea sharing between NSOs.
And for the recommendations, the first one, guidance on how to implement the SDG into programs. More PR and marketing to promote SDG into every youth program in all levels. NSOs settle goals and timeline to achieve SDGs, and each NSO to appoint a SDG representative. More SDG workshop, sharing space, and webinars. And more related SDG programs, and also incorporating SDG module in adult training. And last but not least, inclusion of SDG in curriculum and programs. By the way, these all are our ideas from education for sustainable development.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation from New Zealand and Thailand. Okay, we'd like to invite the next group of presenters for the breakout group Messengers of Peace to come forward, please. Thank you. Yeah, they are walking up peacefully.
Good morning, conference. Our breakout group on Messengers of Peace this morning was facilitated by Ms. Jemima, Ms. Mari Nakano, Mr. Che Leng, and Mr. Burns. The inputs for the session was emphasized on the culture of peace, the culture of dialogue, and global networking, and the alignment of a Messengers of Peace initiative with the Sustainable Development Goals. The MOP guidelines was discussed and it was introduced. The new guidelines that has been introduced in 2017 was given to the participant in brief. The participants were divided themselves into 8 small groups, where the groups decided among themselves before arriving at the following recommendations. The understanding of how important it is to share an idea was achieved by a simple activity by this small group. This is a small video. Can we have the video, please?
In your hand, right?
Yes.
So I want you to exchange your projects with somebody you don't know. Okay? So just like 30. Yeah, throw your balloon and exchange and get one. Throw them. And get one. Whatever the one. Sorry. No worries.
This activity helped each and everyone to understand how easy it is to share an idea and learn from each fellow scout who are messengers of peace. Now to read out the recommendations, I request my colleague Ellen to come up with the recommendations.
Thank you. We have concluded our session.
So I want you to exchange in your hand.
So we have concluded our session with 6 recommendations. In order to measure the impact of Messenger of Peace, we have a recommendation on quantity and quality. For the quantity aspect, we hope to ensure the MOP coordinators have recorded the number of service hours, participants, projects, and trainings on Scout.org and social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and etc. For the quality aspect, we would evaluate the impacts in our volunteers and the community by the MOP coordinators by the ways of conducting surveys, interviews with participants, discussion and after-action review and testimonials. Thirdly, Scouts should partner with local NGO and work closely with and leverage on the partnership built by WUSUM at local levels to align with the peace actions and SDGs. That means we act at the local levels and we contribute at the global level. Fourthly, actually in our communities, there are quite a lot of peace actions carried out by the grassroots scouts and non-scouts. All of these contribute to create a better world. As a messenger of peace, we have to reach out to them and incorporate them into our Scouts global network and collaborate into Better World framework. Fifth, we request NSOs to follow the latest MOP program guidelines published in 2017. So NSOs are encouraged to adapt it to the needs of their NSOs and promote the same to the grassroots scouts. Last but not least, we recommend the NSO should have an approved structure to implement and evaluate the MOP program, collaborating with the youth program team, such as MOP coordinator, program manager, training commissioners, accounts and finance personnel. So that's all our recommendations that are concluded by our session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Can we hold the two of you back for a while? All right. Thank you, Helen and Madhu. We are also pleased to mention that both of them are MOP Heroes awardees. Shall we give them a round of applause, please? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've come to the last breakout group presentation on growth. We'd like to invite the presenters to come on stage, please.
G'day, my name's Caitlin. I'm from Australia and I'm speaking in on growth in the Asia Pacific region. And to start with, we did an overview about some of the things that were touched on earlier in the week, presented by the WASM representatives on growth, and talked about why is growth important for each individual NSOs. Then we spoke a lot about what are some of the barriers for growth for your NSO. So we can all read, but these were some points that we touched on. Lack of funding or lack of support, including things like giving permission for scouting to occur during school time and things like that. So not just financial support, but other support. And then separate to that, young people having limited personal finances and financial resources. Adults not wanting to be leaders, adults and leaders feeling overburdened, and young leaders feeling overburdened. The increase in focus on formal education across many of the NSOs. Lack of trust in Scouts and organisations in general, and then general people having to follow rules that may have to be broken to do Scouts. Retention of existing members. Lots of people, we're quite good at recruiting, but then we lose people very quickly or at high rates. And increase in competing organisations. Lots of people referred to these as other uniformed groups in Scouting in schools and in their communities. One component that was a barrier to growth is that we seem to not have an interesting program. People leave because they just didn't like it anymore, not necessarily to do with anything else. And the last point is the lack of consistency of the leaders' ability to deliver the program. And so this overarchingly manages needing adult training and the way that we train our leaders. So some of the ways that we then we swapped the issues around, so the groups that came up with the barriers solved other people's barriers and came up with solutions for them. One is that we shouldn't rely on one funding body, be that funding body a government or not. We shouldn't put, as I would say, all our eggs in one basket. We should be independent and self-sustainable. Sorry, I've just realised these slides have not worked themselves out properly. One way in regards to our adult leaders that we should formalise leadership recognition. When a leader attends training, give them training that is recognised by the whole community if you've got community-based scouting, like a certificate of leadership or aligning your own scout leader training with other leadership type training. Provide logical progression for young people leaving the movement, so people who are of rover age to progress into being leaders and supporters, providing training while they're in their later years as a youth member, or providing other ways that make sense starting to progress through. And every time we promote scouting, we must also promote and include that it's safe and inclusive. So even if we're saying how great and fun and adventurous activity is or something that we've been on, we need to actively add into our promotional materials that we're safe from harm, that it's a safe environment. This is something we don't do as well as we definitely could. Other solutions we came up with are that we need to be running a flexible, progressive program. Young people need to be involved in the planning of this, and realistically it needs to be better than other organisations. That's as pretty blunt as we can put it. If you've got a program that people want to be part of, then the things like not being interested, wanting to allocate their time, wanting to allocate your limited funds, if it's interesting and fun, then people will do it or are much more likely to. We should performance manage all positions, people who aren't just adult leaders and the leaders of our youth sections, but in all hierarchical levels. We need some sort of performance management. This was discussed in the previous ones. And when introducing ideas, so introducing, say, community-based scouting in an environment that normally has school-based scouting, do it in a supported pilot program and then work from there. There was a good example in Hong Kong about this has been done. But starting in a small chunk and then working up from there instead of going right at it. The last bit we then spoke about, is 5 different groups in regards to ideas and points on key areas for growth. So our target audiences, the 5 areas are target audiences and then the 4 that are written at the bottom there. Peer-to-peer, so word of mouth is a very good way to be increasing our audience. We should be putting specifying targets for urban areas, not quotas, but aiming to hone in and work towards certain areas. If there's new apartment blocks and buildings, we should be looking at getting people based on where they live. And contact and build on existing groups. So if there's a pre-existing religious group, or making meaningful connections with other organisations. These are some examples of how we welcome new members, especially new leaders or adults in Scouting. We have online training that people can do at their own pace, assigning a personal leader advisor or specifying a mentorship program for new leaders. Availability of resources and activity teams, so just having so much there, people need to be able to access their resources. We have a lot of resources for leaders, but often they feel like they're out of touch. Some other examples are quarterly gathering for new recruits, so people are feeling like they're part of something regular. And another example could be organising a camp for new recruits to come in. Remembering to show what Scouting really is about, creating a better world, enjoying ourselves, doing fun activities. To then keep those volunteers. Fostering job satisfaction and ongoing recognition is something that we do think is still really important. Awards at intervals and length of service as formal recognition awards. If you can have these connected in with meaningful organisations. So if you're community-based, then add in the community recognition of awards. So be it combined with the government or combined with other areas, so it's reflected across the whole. Retention and progression options for young adults, so encouraging rovers and older people in the youth movement to have meaningful opportunities for themselves. Making training easier and more accessible, and making the trainers themselves more flexible and ongoing. Have young people involved in that training if it's appropriate. And then we discussed how to introduce school-based scouting into areas that are predominantly community-based. So the main point from this is that the best person to be running scouting in a school may not be the head teacher and may not be the teacher that has been there the longest, or may not be the teacher who's done scouting the longest. We should be identifying the best people to introduce the scouting into schools, not just the headmaster, for example. And then also that we need to work strategically with school boards. We can't just say, here's a group of young members, you're now scouts. We need to be working across, and the high levels, working with headmasters, working with people like that. Sorry. And finally, we may think the opposite, but if we're in an environment which is predominantly school-based scouting, how to introduce community-based scouting into it. One of the countries, Singapore, has partnered with the governing body of community centres and community groups to introduce scouting, work strategically in this sense. And this goes with the final point as well, joining with existing things in the community. Other components include inviting and showing politicians and decision-making people what Scouting is, so they know the benefits. Seeing what we do, seeing young people, seeing creating a better world, not just inviting them to award ceremonies. And then this is also quite strategic, but asking developers and people building, for example, new apartment blocks and urban plans to include community centres with the Scout focus in mind. Sorry, the clicker didn't work properly for those. So they were the things we touched on, and how we can look at growing our membership and how meaningful Scouting is in each of our NSOs. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kathleen, for the presentation. We've come to the end of the breakout group reports, and we are quite amazed by how quickly and beautifully and how succinctly these reports were made over such a short period of time. And on behalf of the conference, we'd like to thank all the presenters, the rapporteurs, the participants, the session leaders, as well as the facilitators for making the breakout session a success. And before we go for a short coffee break, I have an announcement to make, and I'd like to remind all NSOs to submit their conference resolutions strictly by noon tomorrow, October the 19th, Friday. I repeat, all resolutions to be strictly by noon tomorrow, Friday, October the 19th. Thank you. Okay, the conference will now adjourn for a recess, and we'll resume at 4:15 sharp. All right, and we thank you once again in advance for your punctuality. Thank you.